Hey guys, so we're back on the Vlogcast. Today we are talking with some of our veterans in the academy here to go over a lot of the different benefits that they see doing Jiu-Jitsu, coming from the military perspective, and how Jiu-Jitsu has helped them. So with me today, I got Jesse, Crystal, and Bo. Jesse, you want to give a little bit of a background on where you came from in the military and maybe your Jiu-Jitsu, stuff like that?
Yeah, so I started in the military in 06. I was on 11 Bravo in the Army. So,
no, you're visually, I'm talking to me.
Oh.
You don't have to talk to the camera.
I was like, so yeah, I was an 11 Bravo in the military, so an infantryman.
I'll cut that out.
Breaking the
Stationed out of Fort Hood. I did 2 rotations over into Iraq and then came back, and I just saw a lot of the soldiers who I was deployed with kind of go downhill after that. And so ever since, I've been kind of seeking out like veteran foundations to kind of help square their heads away, if that makes sense, you know, because the VA just seems to throw meds at you. And so I've been progressing into a more of a non-medication, more of a self-sustaining kind of concept. And
yeah, and you brought the We Defy affiliation to Invictus and to New Mexico as an ambassador of We Defy. We Defy is an organization that helps provide and sponsor veterans with disabilities to do Jiu-Jitsu and martial arts, and I want to say CrossFit too. I thought they did, maybe they didn't, but I thought there was CrossFit. I know that there's been some other organizations as well that have helped veterans with disabilities and stuff like that find therapeutic practices outside of VA meds. Exactly. That will help kind of facilitate some healing or some at least stability in their lives. Exactly. Crystal, so you're also former Marine, right?
Yes, sir. So I enlisted in 1998. Yes, I'm old. Screw you guys. I actually went in as a 227, which is an F-18 mechanic. 5 years active duty, and during my time I deployed on the USS Constellation. We went around the Western Pacific, and so spent some time in the Arabian Sea doing operations out there. And 9/11 actually happened while I was on deployment. So I was in pre-9/11, during 9/11, and got out just after we went into Afghanistan. So,
oh man.
Yeah, and my husband's also was where I met, and he served in Afghanistan as well.
Both of you were Marines?
We were both Marines, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we're still together.
and Bo?
Yeah, so I was in the Navy. I was a SAR swimmer, AW. I deployed to the Middle East a couple times too. It's funny, I remember the Constellation was out there when I was out there. But yeah, I just got into Jiu-Jitsu about 6 years ago. It's great for managing that stress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, and you actually did Jiu-Jitsu prior to even coming to New Mexico. You started Jiu-Jitsu in Louisiana, right?
Yeah, I started a little small place back home, Shop Pines Martial Arts.
Shout out. Shout out Louisiana.
It was a little more traditional, but it's a good school. I love this place though.
Yeah, so it's funny that Bo, I think you're the only person who didn't start Jiu-Jitsu here. Although Crystal, you've done martial arts, Taekwondo, and other things at a different facility in Albuquerque, Blackman's. Was it just Blackman's, or did you go?
Yeah, it was just Blackman's.
Okay. And then Jesse was here. You started during the pandemic.
Yeah, so my very first taste of Jiu-Jitsu was actually the Army, because they're combatives, but it was just terrible instruction with people who didn't know what they were doing. And so I was kind of hooked as it was. And so I started during the pandemic with someone who actually knew it.
You guys were just backyard brawling, essentially.
We were trying to eat it to you. It was ridiculous.
No, when I was coming up in MMA, there was a lot of us that would just get in the backyard and just fight each other, and it was horrible. I mean, looking at it now, we all thought we were good back then, but now you're just like, oh my god, like that was bad.
Day one I came here, I was like, I got a little experience, I should be okay, and that was not the case. That was not the case.
So you're a blue belt, Crystal's a white, and Bo is a purple, and so we've all been doing this. Crystal, have you hit a year yet?
Yeah, just over a year.
Just over a year.
Yeah, it's really
I thought it was I thought it was recent. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's been a year-ish almost. And then Bo, you're probably what, 5 or 6 years at this point.
16, so yeah.
Yeah, and then
Wow.
yeah, 6-ish years, and Jesse, pandemic. So it's what, 2 years, year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, coming up on 2, I think, this month.
Yeah. So have you felt, and I guess we'll go down the line with it, but have you felt like following leaving the military that you didn't have a lot of support or struggled a little bit after? Because I know, obviously, I've never been in the military, but I know obviously that the military provides a lot of discipline, a lot of structure, and a lot of things that can help keep veterans and keep just people in like a routine, I guess, that kind of helps with stabilizing both mental health and physical health. And then after I'm told, after leaving that, a lot of individuals struggle to find that again.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, my experience in the military was a lot of like kind of check the box kind of scenarios. So when you're out processing, they'd put you through like a lecture, and then they would call that your out processing. So they don't necessarily give you a lot of transitional help when you're leaving. So all that discipline that you're talking about while you're in evaporates as soon as you get your DD-214, you're out. So like you leave the military and it's like you're kind of thrust into this new world, because depending upon how long you've been in, you're used to this, structure of wake up, PT, formation, whatever the day's duties are. And then once you're out, it's just like, okay, now I gotta find a job or whatever, and then a lot of people fall into drinking. Like that was one of my problems, was I was just drinking too much. And that's kind of what drove me here, was like, I wanted to get rid of that, change my lifestyle into a better one.
So was there like a catalyst that made you like just flick the switch one day, or were you just like, you know what, screw this?
Well, a lot of it was the wife, for one, but 2 was just my health. I was declining. I was in the hospital once or twice for pancreatitis, just from drinking. So it was literally just like I was drinking myself into a coffin. And so I was like, I got to make a change before I stay in that coffin.
Wow.
And so I started looking up schools and kind of seeing the different vibes, and obviously this is the one that grabbed me,
That's awesome, man. Well, that's crazy. I'm glad you kind of came out of that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't. We've had a number of people who've come through that have had the same stories, and they say a lot about the friends and whatever that they've lost, and people who've had just never recovered from that.
Yeah.
Crystal, did you have anything, like when you came out of the military, did you have a hard time transitioning, or?
Yes, in a sense. I feel like maybe back when I came out, it was a little bit more support, because we were coming off of that very patriotic, we just, casualties like this bring people together, and they brought us together as a nation, and so there's probably a little bit more support. And then I had my husband with me, so I think it's just such a different lifestyle, and I don't know that it's hard to understand when you're coming from an outside perspective, that when I'm talking to you, I'm not being mean. Like, this is the way I learned as a young adult to talk to people. And then I got into nursing after that, and everyone was like, oh, hugs and touching and feelings. I'm like, no, we got to do the job. And, it was, even now, I teach nursing, and my students are like, terrified. But
Were you
I promise, this is just how, when I was a young adult, how I learned to communicate, and I've really softened a lot, but it's a different way of, you miss that. You miss having people that understand where you came from. And I feel like the martial arts atmosphere kind of simulates that a lot.
I think a lot of it is like the camaraderie.
Exactly.
Like when you're in and you're going through all those hard times with your unit, you form those hard bonds. And you gain that camaraderie that you can't really find in the civilian world until, at least for me, until I came here. I'm rolling with all you guys every day, and it's like, that's the Jiu-Jitsu family that we're always talking about. And so that's for me, at least, the camaraderie aspect of, like, you've got a new tight-knit group of people that
it's like the same goal, a lot of the same goals, a lot of the same.
You fight the same fights together.
Yeah,
and
something about suffering that you're like, I don't want to suffer by myself. If I suffer together,
then we're
then we're friends.
Well, there's what? What's that, Bo?
I say there's an honesty to it with martial arts, like
Yeah.
especially the kind of martial arts we do. We do kickboxing, we do jiu-jitsu, we do things that like the mats don't lie, dude.
Yeah.
So like you can express whatever, and you can just be yourself.
Well, that's a lot of the stigma that a lot of martial arts gyms like ours and stuff like that get, especially that in gyms where they can go into MMA type styles like jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing, gyms like that, is there's a stigma around it that's saying like we all consider it tight-knit, we all consider it, like you were saying, like we all suffer together, but there's a lot of individuals who believe that we all just come in here and beat the tar out of each other every day and hurt each other every day, and that's why yeah, only a little bit, and that's why it's we have actually a lot of people, and I've even had some people who were former military who said that, like, you know, I came out of the military, I had injuries, I had whatever, and I can't do something like that because I don't want to, like, maybe I'm in mid-30s or whatever, and I don't want to just go somewhere and just get beaten up every day. So and obviously it's not like that, but it's it's something that we hear a lot. Yeah. And Bo, did you have any hardship coming out of that?
Kind of to build off what Crystal said, I got out a long time ago too. I got out in 2004. Things were different back then, but one of the things I kind of felt like was you miss, the civilian world is very repetitive and monotonous. And like in the military, you wake up one morning, and I was in aviation, so like my job, some days I was mailman, some days I was doing guns, some days I was, you know, looking for surface contacts, whatever. So everything was different. It was always exciting. Well, it was hurry up and wait, but there was bits of excitement in there, right?
For like
so you
5 minutes.
Right. You're on the flight deck spinning for 20 hours,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, it's when you get out, you don't have that unless you can find it.
Yeah.
So like martial arts, this isn't my first martial art, but when I got out, I did kickboxing, I did judo, and those kind of filled those, I guess, that missing.
Those gaps.
Those gaps, yeah. You needed that camaraderie, you needed that challenge, I feel like.
Yeah.
And like I said, nothing's more honest than going and like sparring or rolling with your friends, right? There's nothing more honest than that. You're yourself.
So what made you do it? Like out of the military, did you already like decide that you wanted to, like, was this something that you were just happy about like doing, like you had wanted to do it before, or was it something like after leaving you were like, you know what, I want to try this, or this is new, or?
I've been doing martial arts pretty much my whole life, right? Taekwondo when I was a kid, I did wrestling in high school. That's the one that stuck, wrestling.
Wrestling, yeah.
Same thing, like when I got out of high school, we had a group of us that would just try to choke each other. There was like a combination of like bench wrestling and what we saw on those VHS. UFC.
Yep, the old.
And, right, yeah, dude. Hoist is in there like from his back, and we're like, I don't know how to do any of this work.
We're just yanking each other's arms. I remember that. I remember watching those VHS movies. We would go to Hastings, and sometimes like they had like the over 18 rule there. So what we would do is we would take it out of one and replace the sleeve with a different one. So it would look like we were renting some chick flick, but it was really like UFC 2. And we'd go out there, and then like it was like, oh, it's an armbar, and you know have the legs over and whatever, and both of us, like all of us, are doing it like with the wrong arm in the wrong direction, just pulling, and the other person's, it doesn't hurt yet. I don't feel this. I don't know. It's like, man, it's some magic shit. I don't understand.
Yeah, that's where I'm still at right now. I'm like, it's the wrong arm.
Which way is this supposed to go?
So I think that like I missed that for a good year after I got out of the military. And I drank a lot too. I got up to like 215 pounds. I was working on, I was happy for the most part, right? But I was missing that, and it kind of turned me into like, I don't want to say soft, but a big pile of
A little doughy. Yeah.
A little soft.
and it kind of like filled that void.
Yeah, it's. I've heard that from a lot of people. That's when they come. Like I said, like you guys and stuff, like from like a drinking kind of atmosphere to that, there's more fulfillment. Like, I mean, I know that you've been sober for a very long time. Are you or anybody else? Yeah, because it's like, as I still do it. I've noticed that, like, I still drink, but I don't drink heavily because this place is one of those places where you can't get away with it. You know, it's like when I have a bad meal or I don't drink enough water, I've been drinking the night before. I've been doing this for a long time. And you know how they say in MMA, it's like you have a black belt and he gets punched in the face and becomes a brown belt. Then he gets punched in the face again in MMA and he becomes a purple belt. And it's like, you've heard that saying. For me, that's like, I was a black belt and I had a beer last night and I became a brown belt. I had a beer after that and I became a purple belt. And then like I'm on the mats and I'm just getting my ass kicked by people and I'm like, what is happening?
They'll take you to dinner and just get you loaded. Maybe the next day.
I just stay like this in a fetal position and just
Turtle up.
It's like your internal defense of like, just keep the elbows in. Just lay here and keep the elbows in.
Protect my neck.
Just protect the neck and the elbows. you're all right as long as all of those like safety measures are in place.
Drinking is a huge part of the enlisted culture.
It really is.
There's also not a lot of good coping mechanisms you learn while you're in the service. You're really taught not to, and then you get out, and there's no accountability. Like, you don't have to be at field day at 6 a.m, you know, and there's no sergeant checking up on you to say, hey, you're getting out of control and that kind of thing. It's the police taking you to jail because you have a DUI. So the discipline is part of it, but you also don't have anybody accountable to you except for yourself.
Why aren't there any measures to help with individuals coping with different afflictions or issues that have happened?
I would say there's a stigma to it. At least for me, for 11 Bravos, for infantry, it was if you went to the head doc, to the psychologist of any sort, they automatically label you as like crazy. Like, we can't trust him on the line, you know. So like you get this unknown stigma of like, oh, he's a head case, he can't handle it, he's not, you know, we don't want him on the squad, we don't want him on the team, you know, so on and so forth. So, you know, if you were to go and try to seek help, then you pay the price for it in your unit, you know, and then so you start drinking, and it's like she said, it's for at least for us infantry, it was like a sport. Like we were just drinking like we would drink everything dry, you know what I mean? So when you got out, that just transitioned with me. I went from doing it with my unit to doing it at home alone, just playing video games and drinking and working, and that was it, you know, until I realized like, yeah, this isn't okay anymore, you know.
Wow.
There's still like a huge stigma as far as even just in society talking about mental health.
Yeah.
And then you come, you know, to the service, which is primarily, you know, male dominated. And what are guys taught? You know,
Suck it up.
suck it up. Don't
Rub some dirt
cry.
on
Be a man.
Don't cry. You got to be strong. And
Yeah.
so you have that in this hyper, you know, military culture, and it's.
Yeah.
I know they're trying to change it, but change is hard.
It's hard. It's a trust issue.
It really is.
You know.
I mean, in some ways too, like, at least for me, you know, with all that hypervigilance, like, sometimes the insomnia, hard to get to sleep, you know? Crush a couple beers, you're out like a light, you know? So, like, in some sense, I would drink just to be able to sleep, you know? So, like, there's different reasons to why people would drink, but I've also seen soldiers just completely go down like the rabbit hole. Like, they start drinking and then they start smoking weed and then they start going down heavier and heavier routes until it's, I don't even know them, and their teeth are missing, and you know, it's just like, man, what happened to you, dude? You know, so I think it's just that mental health stigma, and it just kind of escalates from there.
Yeah. Mental health is one thing that I want to do a lot more talks about, just because it's such a crucial thing. And like you were saying, Crystal, it's extremely stigmatized in a lot of ways with men. I mean, with women as well, but for a different reason. But with men, we're not allowed to have it. You know, we're not allowed to be not okay. We're not allowed to be hurting, or whatever, because we're considered weak.
Make it to a meme.
What's that?
Make it to a meme.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It is true. Right?
Yeah, we're not allowed to.
You're not allowed to have feelings.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have
happy.
feelings, or it's
Can't
always.
pet a puppy. Can't
I mean, I'll pet a puppy. I don't know about that. I'll pet a puppy, but yeah, no, it's true. And with women, it's. I'm sure you have a different perspective on that, but the stigma on it is a completely 180 in the fact that it's still as bad, but in a different way. I feel like when I see women with mental health and stuff like that are going through a lot of struggles, it's not necessarily like we're men where you have to suck it up, but it's brought to people where it's brought to my attention in any way when we've had people here. It's like very not necessarily like ignored, but in a sense of like there's just different ways that they tell women to cope with it in a way that I don't feel like is all that effective either. Like where you do martial arts and you've done things in your life that have made you kept your discipline, kept things stronger, kept order in your life and things like that. Whereas there's just like so many women and so many people that I've met who turn to drinking or turn to drugs or turn to other things because it's not even though they say that the culture exists to help people. I don't feel like it's strong enough. Maybe that's a better way to say it. I don't feel like it's strong enough in the sense where people feel like if I'm going down this rabbit hole into this like hellscape in my head, there isn't just a very readily available methodology to it. Because like for me personally, whenever I've had anything like that, and I'll go into it in a different video and stuff, because I've had a lot of mental health stuff, but the first thing I'm told is go to a doctor, get some meds. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, get an SSRI. And I'm just like, I don't want an SSRI. Like, I don't want to be a zombie. I don't want to have, and that's one culture that I've seen a lot with women, and I know a lot of women who have just been just wine and Prozac or whatever, and just throw meds at them. Mm-hmm. And actually, and Crystal, you're in the medical field, so I don't know if you have even more insight on that, but it's just an interesting thing, and obviously it's anecdotal. I'm not a doctor, but these are just a lot of experiences I've had with friends.
I think we look for our answers in drugs a lot, and I don't think they were originally intended that way. They're more as an adjunct for you to develop other coping mechanisms, but a lot of just people these days just want the answer, and I want the pill and I'll be better. It's like, no, like the issues are still there, and that's kind of a lot of what I get out of here. It's the additional coping mechanisms. It's not, you do this so that you don't need the meds, as opposed to
they want that instant.
Yes. I mean, we do for living, right? I want to be, I want to lose weight. Let me take the pill. Don't want to eat my vegetables. Let me eat a, supplement of unknown origin. That kind of stuff.
Not FDA approved yet.
Not FDA approved. It's a little shady.
It literally says.
But I don't have to eat my broccoli. It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Like a lot of that. That's kind of a different subject, though.
But what do you guys all think that what is the biggest value in martial arts and jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai and kickboxing and in boxing and all of those that provide the coping mechanism, you two think?
I would think,
besides the camaraderie, we've already the camaraderie makes a lot of sense just because you have like-minded people, but is there anything else besides that?
I think the core of it is really, especially jiu-jitsu, is really helpful because initially as a white belt you just get crushed all the time. So you have to start building the fundamentals of, okay, I'm getting beaten all the time. Why is this happening and how do I stop it? And then eventually you start figuring out, oh, this is how I stop it. And you start building those blocks of problem solving. You start at a problem and your instructor shows you what you're doing wrong or how to fix it, and then you build off of that. So the entire time you're put in a bad and uncomfortable situation that you eventually get used to, and then you use that comfort while you're in that position to think your way through that problem.
Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of cerebral exercising that helps you think with a lot of it.
Yeah, I think that for me,
and it's a reward system too, really because you build confidence as you're doing it. As you get better, you have a sense of accomplishment, reward, and it makes you want to continue.
Right. And I know that one of the stories you told me is when you were coming up, you were working on a lot of top game, and your professor said unless you work in your back, then I'm not going to put you up your next belt. And so it's that made a lot of sense to me because it's work your weakness.
Yep.
And so it's that's the problem solving method. If I'm always good on top and I suck on bottom and I get crushed, I'm just going to stay on bottom until I figure out how to
Not get crushed
on bottom. So it's like, to me, it makes a lot of sense in terms of all of jiu-jitsu. If I'm constantly getting armbarred by Jared or Jeff or whoever, I need to figure out how to not get armbarred by these people. You know, and then once I stop getting armbarred, it's a little success, a little confidence boost of like, oh, okay, I figured out what I'm doing wrong or how I can get away from this.
When it translates to life, I would say a lot.
Yeah.
Just because it's, the more that you do it, one thing that I would say in martial arts that has helped me a lot is that exact same thing, is how you look at and how you attack problems.
100%.
And the more that you do it, and the more that you do it in here and you practice, hey, like every single time I have a problem that seems insurmountable, seems too hard, where normally my body would just be like, well, I guess I'm not doing that anymore, you know, or whatever. We train in here mentally, more than physically, I would say, to, okay, well, let's find a solution. Well, how do you do that? And if you don't know, one thing that I found truly valuable in martial arts is if you don't know something, there's almost always somebody in your area, in your circle, in somewhere that has an answer, or at least can help you figure it out together. Yeah. Do you all have any differing opinions on that, or?
No, that's coming again from the military side, when a lot of what you do, you're told to do. Mm-hmm. So, you know, there is room in there for problem solving, kind of figuring stuff out, but a lot of it is you wake up and your command says, this is what you're doing today. And then you get out and you maybe don't know how to do that. You're like, oh, like, how do I...
Like free thinking kind of thing?
Yeah,
or?
I mean, there's a little, I'm not saying that we don't have free thinkers in the service, but it really is not...
It's not
primarily
encouraged.
Yeah, it's not encouraged. Most people are special.
It's very correctable.
So being here kind of does teach you that, and I feel like it also it gives your mind a break from everything else. Because when your mind is ruminating on all these outside things, and you can't. You're especially when you're brand new, you're just trying to figure out how to get out of this freaking side control, you know, and your mind's not thinking about, oh, I have all of these other responsibilities, and it really gives you a break.
It's a meditation.
At least a mental break, physically maybe.
I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
The mental break, if you will. You know, you had a long day. I'm hardly ever in a bad mood when I leave here. I don't think I ever am, really. Even if I get my ass beat, I don't feel like, you know, like, because like if you can, like, you know, being stuck under like Jared's neon belly 5 minutes into a roll just sucks. It sucks. But after the roll's over, you're like, I just did that. I was like, maybe you didn't get tapped, right? Maybe you didn't get tapped that day.
Little victories.
Yeah, and you're on your way home, it's like, there's no care in the world, because you got all that stuff you got it. Yeah, all you're thinking about is jiu-jitsu. Even if you don't want to think about jiu-jitsu, you can't help it. You got somebody else. Somebody's on top of you,
Actively thinking about
literally
jiu-jitsu.
practicing ways to
Hurt you.
choke you out and take your arm.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about your job and everything.
No,
Jared's on top of you.
man.
You're like, oh,
You're not. And if you are,
I have to grade my papers.
If
No.
you are, you're right.
But if you are, you're way better at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're definitely not thinking about anything else. And it's a mental meditation, I think. In a lot of ways, it's a mental meditation. It's different than traditional forms of meditation in a lot of ways.
Meditation is hard. Like to sit there and breathe. That takes.
It's hard.
There's people. This is not going to work for, and this is meditation.
Like, can we turn some music on?
I know.
So quiet in
That's
here.
my problem.
Yeah.
You hear the ringing more. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a lot of people in jiu-jitsu, they have to have that music. So, I don't want to sit here and hear my opponent and me breathing the whole time. It's like, well,
Feet stacking the back.
it's like it's part of it, but yeah, I get that too. For me, it's a lot of
just
it.
sitting there too. I want to do meditation.
Yeah, meditation. And meditation comes in a lot of different forms, right? There's a lot of, like you're saying, breathing, awareness, body, like just different forms of meditation. I've actually done a lot of it in meditation, just trying to work through my own mental health things. And I will say that jiu-jitsu and for me kickboxing, both of them, kickboxing less so unless I'm in a really good flow with somebody, but jiu-jitsu, it's very easy to find kind of like a meditational flow state with somebody else, especially if they're a little bit more advanced. You're both not trying to murder each other. You're both just working. And it's sometimes a lot easier to find that. And it's one thing that I've felt like has helped me a lot. But so I don't want to take too much of you guys' time with this, but do you guys have any parting words, any advice, anything that you would tell veterans, people who are considering it, people who are maybe going down a bad rabbit hole, things like that could help them?
I guess my thing would just be start. Just, you know, suck it up and start. Give it a shot. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean to go back to that whole, like, masculine aspect of it of, like, you know, just be tough, don't cry.
That's what I was about to tell you.
I knew, I knew you were going to say something, dude. But, like, until you start.
Therapy here.
But until you start, you're not going to start.
Okay.
I'm in my safe space here.
Yeah, you're in your safe. You don't have to be like that here. We're friends.
But yeah, just get after it, man. Just start. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But give it a shot. You know, it can't hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say come in. You're gonna get your ass kicked. Expect it. It's fine though. Everybody here wants to help you learn. That's the other piece when you really have people. You have people that have your back. And even if it's just learning a brand new little victory thing, like that's the atmosphere that's here. And
by getting your ass kicked, you don't mean like getting hurt.
no.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people who don't understand what we do. That when they hear, "Hey, we're gonna get our
When I
asses
say
kicked,"
ass kicked, it means you're gonna come out and you're gonna be exhausted, but it's you win or you learn.
You're gonna be thirsty and you're gonna be tired.
You're
Yeah.
thirsty and tired. None of that's brand new, and you're gonna feel good.
Yeah.
You feel great.
yeah,
Just try it. Most places will let you try it for free half the time.
Yep.
So just try it. You're gonna find out that you're gonna know not know anybody there, but you're gonna meet a lot of people in jiu-jitsu, especially if you're in the military, that are like-minded, just like you. So I'd
Yep.
say this is a good outlet for for making sense.
and it's one of the fastest ways I would say to get to know somebody. It's like when you walk into any other event, like right, it's like you try to get to know somebody. You know, you shake hands and you talk, have casual conversation. There's something a little bit different when you're face to face trying to choke each other. You know, it's like you have a different bonding, a different way that you're bonding here. So and the next time you walk in, it's like it wasn't like, oh yeah, I had a 5-minute casual conversation with Bo yesterday and I just met him. It's like no, it's like last time me and you saw each other, we were trying to choke each other. and how you doing, man? It's good to see you.
Exactly.
I'm glad you were able to choke me. I'm glad I was able to try to choke you. You know, it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. So yeah, I think the key takeaway here is that I've gotten from a lot of this is, you know, just take care of yourself. Find ways to make it so you can cope with different things that you've been through and whatever. Find discipline, and the biggest thing that comes out of that is just trying it out. I mean, the more that you like what they tell people coming out of college or going into college or whatever. When they're like, hey, I don't really know what I want to, like what job I want to do or what I want to go or where's my passion now that I have my degree or maybe going into it. And a lot of recruiters and people will say is just try as many things as you can. And the more experience you have, the more things that you can try, the more things that you can eliminate and narrow down what it is that helps you and what it is that makes you feel better. And the more that you do that, the more likely it is that you will land on something that actually gives you benefit.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you guys. I appreciate you all for being here and doing this video. And I hope it really helps some people out there and gets people a way to find an alternative to other maybe more negative coping mechanisms and other things that we do in our life that can be a bit more destructive. So, and like always, guys, if you have any questions or if you need any help or anything like that, please reach out to us. Our academy, and I know there are academies in literally every state and in every place that feel the same way as us. Please reach out. Make sure that you look for help if you need it. And then to all the academies out there, the We Defy organization isn't exclusive to one gym in each city. It's nothing like that. We actually want other gyms to be affiliates with We Defy, because the more that we can get, the more people we help, right? So that's one thing that we wanted to kind of contribute in this talk, is to make sure that it's not only Jesse and our academy that's trying to help this, but we're trying to perpetuate it to as many as we can in order to make it so other veterans, other gyms, other places can all kind of contribute to the same cause. So with that said, thank you guys. Appreciate y'all. And yeah, we'll see you on the next vlogcast, guys. Thank you.